Hi, thanks for checking out my video. Today we're going to be talking about lights and how you would use lights to go from this to So the space that you see behind me is the result of quite a bit of research and time getting to this point. And I hope you like the studio and the setup that I have for my videos and my streaming now, but if you didn't, then why would you still be watching this video? Lighting is probably the most important thing to have right in your streaming or recording of videos. It really doesn't matter if you're streaming or recording. They're essentially the same thing. Lighting is really expensive. You can spend thousands of dollars on professional quality lighting. What I'd like to offer you today is some alternatives to that, where you can get some cheap do-it-yourself options. I was inspired by some other videos that I saw on YouTube. One in particular is Daniel Schiffer's video about how to make a really expensive light out of a cake pan. I considered making a cake pan light, but I thought if I was going to do that, it would be exactly the same thing as what was already done, and I probably wouldn't do as good of a job as he did on his video. So I actually made a DIY light out of an old lampshade. I'm pretty sure most of you have old lamps around the house, in the garage. I know I had quite a few with lampshades still on them. I took that apart, I disassembled the lamp, and I built a sort of a mock, really expensive light. The most popular video lights are the aperture lights, which are awesome, really high quality lights, but again, you can spend upwards of in the thousands of dollars on a setup like that. So I wanted to see if I can do this out of a LED light strip and an old lamp. As a bonus, I'll show you all the lighting that I have in the studio. Mostly what I have invested in my studio lighting setup here is time, not a ton of money. I think I probably spent, I don't know, in the area of $100 on all of this. Most of it is just found things that are around the house that weren't being used for anything. What I plan to do for this video is work backwards from this point, what you're seeing in the studio right now, all of this lighting, the lighting that's on me, the lighting that's in the background, and I want to shut it off and talk to you about what each one of these layers adds to the scene, and then we'll turn it all back on. I'm going to post links for all of the equipment that I've used that I had to purchase on Amazon, so I'll place Amazon links in the description below. As an Amazon affiliate, I get a small amount of money when you purchase things after clicking on the links in my description, so it really helps my channel out a lot, and if you like the content, I'd really appreciate you doing that. In the near future, I plan to shoot another video that goes through my full setup that I have here in the studio, including the camera equipment that I have, the audio equipment that I have, and how I have managed to set up a traditional streaming area and a digital streaming area. So watch out for that video. I'd appreciate if you check that one out as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we lost a little bit back there without the LED lights. And here's without our salt lamp. LED lights were about $25. The salt lamp that I just turned off was, I think, literally like under $10. It was a closeout at a hardware store. So with nothing going on in the background, I just have the regular room lights going on, plus my special DIY, what? My special DIY lampshade light that you need to hold on to see how that works and how I made it. And we're back to the beginning again, where we have only one light that is just a regular room light. It's coming from the side, which actually this light over here is functioning as a fill light for me. It's not as powerful as my lampshade light, so that is helping fill in the shadow side of my face. If I was to turn that off, it would go completely dark, which why not? Well, that's dark. Now what you're seeing here is just the light from my computer monitors shining on my face, and that obviously would not be the best scenario for shooting any kind of video. Turn everything back on with 3, 2, 1. Much better. Let me walk you through this do-it-yourself lampshade LED light that you can make for under $50, I would say. Most of the stuff you can do this entire setup for less than $100 for sure. I made two. They're actually so cool that I made two of them. So here we go. All right, so you're going to need to set up your workspace and make sure you're careful when you're doing this. You can see I'm using tin snips here to cut a disposable serving platter that's made of tin, I would suspect. I've got a razor blade, so you want to make sure that you're safe when you're doing this. But the serving platter I actually used as a backing to the lampshade to close up the top that's normally open. And then you can see there that I screwed in an articulating arm, which I will link to. We'll talk about that again in a bit. Initially, when I was doing this, I was cutting up my serving platter and trying to insert it, and then I sort of aborted that mission because I realized it wasn't going to fill the hole inside. So I just used aluminum foil and I folded it up into wedges, and you can see how I am sliding that in between the bars to basically make the interior of this just a metal dish. So I'm inserting these wedges, and what they're actually doing is helping to keep the tin foil in place. And now I go into my LED lighting strip, which is an adhesive backing. I unpeel the adhesive backing, and I'm working my way around the interior of this in a spiral. You want the LED lights to be facing the sides. You don't want them to all be collected in the back. What that will do is allow the light to really bounce around in here as a natural diffusion. The more bouncing you have, the softer the light is and the less direct it is. We're transitioning here into the moment of truth where I plug in the AC adapter to the LED light strip. You want to make sure these are daylight lights, they're not RGB lights. And I turn this on and flip it over. And I think here I kind of hold my breath because I spent quite a bit of time getting this put together. And action. There we go. So we have some light going. It doesn't look very bright here in the scene because I'm outdoors in a garage with a open bay door, so it doesn't look super bright, but it definitely is. So the next step, you're going to need a diffusion material. You can buy that, or I just used an old cotton white t-shirt that I cut apart, and I'm using duct tape here to go around the outside to keep that in place. You stretch it nice and tight around the outside and then use that adhesive to cover it up. And what I'm going to do now with that articulating arm is going to screw this into the back, and it works perfectly because it actually is a lampshade, the top where you normally put the top of the, I don't even know what that thing is. It's the same size as a tripod articulating arm. So I was able to make this into a handle. And here we've moved forward into some other materials where we've got our shrink wrap and our black duct tape. We took this project indoors and shot a little bit of video wrapping the outside with black duct tape, which I think also helps to light proof the outer portion of the lampshade. And I think it also looks a little bit nicer as an outer coating than just the shade itself or silver duct tape. So I'll link again to all of the materials that I purchased in the description below. So if you click on those, it'll take you directly to Amazon where you can purchase them. And I worked my way around the outside with this. And the next step is to actually use the shrink wrap because I didn't like the way that the duct tape was sort of uneven on the outside. So I have this hand shrink wrap material that I'm stretching around the outer portion of this to make it into this. It actually has a pretty stable, heavy-duty material on the outside. When you combine the tin foil, the serving platter, the lampshade itself, the duct tape, and the shrink wrap around the outside, this thing becomes sort of bulletproof. But there you have it. That is our lampshade project, a DIY lampshade that you can build for under $50.
Thanks for watching. There's a little button that they put on the laptop or something, and then they say click it, and then you can never even miss a video.
That's if you subscribe.